November 3rd, 1944, off Luzon. The night is split by a heavy thud, steel screams, the deck heaves, oil and seawater explode skyward, the ship lurches hard to port. Darkness swallows the aftersection. Alarms wail. The crew braces for the worst. 700 miles from safe harbor, the USS Reno is bleeding, burning, and alone. The stakes: survival or the abyss. How does a warship endure when every system fails and the ocean claws at her wounds? A bright moon hangs over the Pacific. The sea is calm, low swells rolling from the northeast. Reno moves with her task force, engines humming at 15 knots, zigzagging on a base course of 330 degrees. Material condition Baker is set, not the tightest, but enough for a ship at war. Below, the engineering plant runs in split condition, ready for action. Without warning, a torpedo slams into the port quarter just aft of the engine room. A geyser of fuel oil and water erupts through the main and second decks, drenching the aft structure. A section of deck, 24 feet long, is blown skyward and crashes down near the port 40mm gun. The gun itself is hurled from its mount, landing atop the torpedo tubes. Smoke and fumes rise, but no fire catches. General quarters sounds. Men rush to battle station. The ship lists sharply, 7 degrees to port in 2 minutes. A gaping hole, 33 feet long, tears open the hull. Compartments C201L and C305L flood instantly. The after engine room is breached by a 10-foot hole in the bulkhead. Water pours in. Power and lights vanish aft as the turbo generators drown. The emergency diesel generator kicks in, but soon floods and dies. The after fire room fills with smoke and vapor. Without ventilation, it becomes a death trap. Boilers are secured. The space is abandoned. The forward machinery holds. Reno limps ahead at 12 knots, steering lost, but the starboard shaft's still turning. The rudder jams hard right. Emergency jacking gear is rushed to the steering room. The ship swings wildly until the gear eases the rudder. Later, the cause is found. Casualty power connected with the wrong phase. All gyro repeaters fail. The ship's heading must be read from the standard compass. Communications with the after gyro room are lost, flooded out in moments. Fire alarms scream in the IC after magazines overheat, or so the indicators say. Orders to flood the magazines are given, but flooding blocks access. The alarms are false. Short circuits, not fire. Sprinkling is abandoned. The real threat is water, not flame. Open doors on the second deck. Let water race from C201L forward to bulkhead 77 and aft to 110. Cruise quarters, repair stations, and storage rooms filled to the waterline. On the first platform, more compartments flood as hatches and doors, warped or left open, fail to hold. The ice machine room, meat room, laundry, and more, all lost to the sea. On the second platform, fuel oil tanks are destroyed, flooding instantly. Magazines and handling rooms fill as armored bulkheads are torn and doors leak. The after diesel generator room floods through the exhaust pipe. Pumps fight the rising water, but the capacity is too small. By 2344, the list reaches 10 degrees port and climbs. Desperate, the crew pumps fuel oil overboard from forward port tanks. Movable weights are shifted to starboard. The list drops to 9 degrees, but the relief is brief. By 0222, the list grows to 15 degrees. Pumping stops. Further loss of liquids could tip the balance dangerously. At 0230, water seeps through cables, shorting the main switchboard in the forward engine room. All power is lost. Only a battery-powered radio remains for communication. The forward emergency diesel generator starts, but can't be put on the line due to shorts. Blowers stop. Heat builds in the machinery spaces, forcing the watch to rotate every 5 minutes. Repair teams abandon their stations as temperatures soar. Still, Reno pushes on, starboard shaft churning. By 0300, the list is 16 degrees to port. The crew jettisons depth charges, ammunition, and anything heavy from the port side. At dawn, more equipment is cut away and thrown overboard. The effect is minimal. Flooding continues. Pumps are shifted from one compartment to another, but progress is slow. At 0600, the destroyer Knapp comes alongside, supplying feed water to starboard tanks. The list drops to 10 degrees. Liquids are transferred constantly. By 0830, the list is 7 degrees to port. Suddenly, the ship rights herself, then lurches hard to starboard. Within minutes, the list swings to 20 degrees starboard. The crew scrambles, shifting all efforts to correct the new list. By 0910, it steadies at 16 degrees. Reno is making 7 knots, but the crisis is far from over. 0858, insulating material near the main switchboard in the forward engine room ignites. Smoke pours from electrical fittings. The lack of ventilation chokes the space. The starboard engine is secured at 0910. Reno lies dead in the water. Preparations for towing begin. Paravanes, depth charges, and torpedoes are jettisoned. Fires break out twice more near the main switchboard, each time extinguished with CO2. The damage control officer, donning a rescue breathing apparatus, makes repeated trips to douse the flames, finally quelling the threat with a fog nozzle. By 1125, the fleet tug Zuni takes Reno in tow at 5 knots. The starboard list holds at 12 degrees. Weights are shifted to port. More fires threaten, but are contained. The forward emergency diesel generator, the last source of power, fails at 1400. Reno is now powerless. Wounded and excess crew are transferred to escorting destroyers. Only a salvage party of 17 officers and 225 men remains. As darkness falls, the ship is secured. No lights are allowed topside. The list creeps to 21 degrees by 0145 on November 5th. The threat of capsizing is real. Zuni slips her tow and comes alongside to help pump out flooded compartments. Ammunition, gas cylinders, and even crates of potatoes are thrown overboard to lighten the ship. Doors are removed, openings blanked with planks. Zuni supplies more pumps and power. By morning, the list drops to 7 degrees. Caperton comes alongside to provide feed water. The after diesel generator room is dried out, but the engine remains dead. The after fire room and crew's mess are pumped down. By 1610, the list is 4 degrees. The situation stabilizes. At 1707, towing resumes. Through the night, winds rise to 24 knots, but Reno rides the seas, her survival almost assured. Minor leaks are quickly handled with submersible pumps. On November 6th, electrical equipment is borrowed from nearby ships to restore power and ventilation. Pumping continues. Compartments are shored, barricades built to keep seawater from pouring below. By evening, the list is reduced to under 3 degrees. A TR-50 joins the tow. Reports warn of a typhoon passing within 300 miles. Ballast is shifted to keep the ship steady. The course is set to best ride the seas. Early on November 7th, efforts begin to restart the evaporators. Jury-rigged flanges allow seawater to be drawn from the fire main. By 1830, the evaporator is running. Plans are made to operate the starboard shaft to increase speed. Blowers are started, powered by the forward emergency diesel generator. By 0930, the shaft slowly turns, building to 45 revolutions per minute by afternoon. Winds reach 35 knots, but Reno rides out the storm, her stern dipping below the waves, but holding. Pumping resumes. Barricades are rebuilt after being washed away by the sea. Compartments are dewatered, leaks caulked. By November 8th, both evaporators are running. The electrical load is supplied by the forward emergency diesel generator. Repairs are made topside as seas abate. Steel plates are welded over ruptured deck seams. Pipe stiffeners are added to prevent cracks from spreading. Below, fuel oil is removed, compartments cleaned. Fire main pressure is restored. Watches are set, lookouts posted for submarines. By November 9th, the starboard shaft speed increases. A TR-50's tow is no longer needed. Zuni continues alone, Reno making 6.5 knots. On November 10th, the shaft is pushed to 96 revolutions per minute. Ulithi is sighted in the afternoon. Preparations for port are made. The last of the list is removed. At 21:56, Reno drops anchor after a 700-mile ordeal. Temporary repairs begin at Ulithi. Holes in the main and second decks are patched. Welded T-beams reinforce the damaged structure. The port shear strake is strengthened. gun mounts are removed. Some compartments are pumped out, but full dewatering must wait for dry dock at Manus. Under tow, Reno makes the trip, her starboard shaft idle to avoid further damage. In dry dock, all compartments are dewatered, the hull patched, machinery preserved, and the port propeller and shafting removed. By February, Reno is undocked and steams under her own power to Charleston. There, all battle damage is repaired. By September 30th, 1945, she returns to service. Now, the technical reality becomes clear. The Torpedo was likely a Japanese 21-inch electric with a 660-pound charge. The explosion tore a massive hole, but the armored bulkheads and fuel tanks absorbed much of the blast. The main force was directed upward, sparing the ship's core structure. The after engine room's machinery suffered most from weeks submerged in salt water. The port shaft slipped nearly 5 feet, but did not tear through the bulkhead. Bearings failed, but the ship held together. The loss of power was catastrophic. Flooding the after engine room killed all power aft. The emergency diesel generator ran until it too was flooded. The forward main switchboard shorted as water seeped through cables. Only by transferring pumps and parts from the after generator could the forward diesel be restarted, using clean fuel from Zuniar. This generator became Reno's lifeline, powering all essential systems for the rest of the journey. Fires, always a threat, were mercifully limited. The Torpedo's detonation in a fuel oil tank did not rupture the weather deck, so there was little oxygen to feed a blaze. Electrical fires in the forward engine room were quickly contained by damage control teams. Still, the threat forced temporary abandonment of the space and prevented the main generators from being restored before Ulithi. Flooding and stability were the true enemies. The Torpedo struck when Reno was fully fueled, her displacement at maximum. Partial flooding of living compartments destroyed a third of the waterplane area. Off-center flooding caused an immediate list to port. As more compartments flooded, the ship's stability, her GM, dropped to 0, then negative. The list increased, reaching 16 degrees. Efforts to correct it by pumping fuel and shifting water overcompensated, leading to the sudden lurch from port to starboard. The ship was in grave danger of capsizing. Only the debris and wire mesh in flooded compartments slowed the shift of water, preventing a fatal roll. As more water was pumped out, stability slowly returned. By Ulithi, over 1,100 tons had been removed. Watertight integrity proved critical. Open doors on the second deck allowed flooding to spread unchecked. If more doors had been closed, flooding might have been contained and stability preserved. War experience showed that ships at general quarters, with all closures set, survived far worse damage. The lesson: watertight integrity is survival. Damage control was relentless. Pumps were shifted, weights jettisoned, shoring installed, and every available resource pressed into service. Recommendations from the ordeal led to more pumps, better lighting, increased shoring, improved magazine sprinkling controls, and stronger doors in future designs. Ventilation was upgraded, and emergency steering systems made more robust. Through it all, the crew's determination never wavered. At no point was abandoning ship considered. Every man fought for the Reno's survival. Their courage, skill, and refusal to surrender turned disaster into a testament of endurance. The Pacific wind still howls across the decks of warships, but the lesson of the Reno endures. Steel can be torn, systems can fail, but the will to survive is forged in crisis. Watertight doors, pumps, and generators matter, but it is the resolve of those aboard that decides a ship's fate. 7 days, 700 miles, and 1,000 moments where disaster seemed certain. Yet the Reno survived, not by luck, but by the unbreakable spirit of her crew. In the end, the ocean relented, and the ship that refused to die sailed home.